Here we are, back again for episode 7 of The Pit. Today we are joined by Noctem owner Jack Stovell. How are we, Jack?
Very well, thank you, sir. And yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. I've been worse. Modern Warfare 3 came out early today, so I'm on top of the world.
I know, mate. I haven't managed to get onto it yet, but I'm very excited to after this.
And we had some big news on the timeline earlier from your brand, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. We won't drop the bomb too early. But segment 1 is going to be getting to know the brand and yourself. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Amazing. So yeah, I'm Jack. I'm 30 years young. Started Noctem in February of this year, and prior to that, I worked in finance for 12 years across various advertising agencies, media agencies. I worked for a housing company at one point. What else is there? I guess like basically every 2 to 3 years, I take 6 to 9 months off to try a new project. Like in the past, I've tried to create my own startup, teach myself how to code. Didn't quite work out, but I always think that you should chase your dreams. If you have an idea and you're like really passionate about it, then go for it. Like I do not want to live my life and like get to the point where I'm like 80 and wonder like, what if?
Yeah.
And that's the ethos that I try to live by, right? I think it's like I've spent in sorry, let me start that again. In the past, I've spent like money that most people would think is just like stupid, right? But in my eyes, like it's great to have money, and when you've got money, like spend it how you want to spend it. Like if you want to buy people drinks, buy people drinks. If you want to like book someone's hotel room for them, book their hotel room. Like and like don't expect anything in return. Like if you've got money, you should use it to like help other people out. And that always comes from when I was a junior, like working in London. So I was traveling up to like central London every day, and like it gets expensive, right?
Yeah.
And you're on like the lowest wage in the company, but you go out for drinks, and then like the people that were on more money would buy you drinks, and you just like, okay, you'll be in this position one day, and when you're in this position, you do the same thing, and it's just like a continuous like paying it forward, and I love that, and you know I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that like a little bit in the last year.
I love that, and I think that's a great ethos to have, to be honest. So that will naturally roll us in to the next part, which is your most recent project, Noctem Esports. Do you want to introduce the brand a little bit to us? Give us some thought behind how you started it?
Of course, yeah. So Noctum obviously started in February this year, like I've already mentioned, and it came about because I'm a big Call of Duty fan, right? But I found it so hard to like figure out when Challengers was on. So like you
Preacher.
have all this like talk on the main broadcast of like, oh, they've come from Challengers, and you're like, okay, what the fuck is sorry, what is Challengers, right? And then like you go on the website, there's not really anything there. You have to click about 7 times to get into any sort of schedule. That schedule doesn't tell you like everything that you need to know, right? So it doesn't tell you when cups are. It doesn't tell you when all the elites are. Like it doesn't tell you that there's a challengers event at the majors. Sounds silly, right? But it doesn't. And like in my head, I saw an opportunity, and I'm like, we could do this better, right? Like there's a blueprint that works for gaming that Optic have done, and I think a couple of other brands have done quite well. But Optic are like the North Star. If we can get content alongside and around our teams, it makes sense that there's an opportunity there, and be able to storytell like what the challenger scene is about, and like you've got people that go to work for like 8, 9, 10 hours a day, come home, scream for 8 hours, all to chase a dream, and I love that. And like I've said to people previously, if I can help someone chase their dream, be able to grow and be able to support more people chasing their dreams and be able to deliver on everything that I think that we can deliver.
I completely agree. I love it. I absolutely love it. So there is one question I've got for you that I've already asked before in a previous podcast, but most people aren't going to know. What is the reason behind the word Noctem, and what does it mean?
Okay, amazing. So like, I wanted something short and snappy, 2 syllables, Noctem, right? I've had Noctem tattooed on my body since I was 18. Maybe no 16. Young kid. I was like, I really want a tattoo. What can I get? Something like, I thought I was one of those guys that thought he was really like insightful and all of this. So I'm like, oh yeah, like carpe diem, carpe noctem, carpe omnia. Got it tattooed on me, and that literally means seize the day, seize the night, and seize everything. And like when I started researching around like team names, like this is all very quick. I was trying to pick up a roster. I'm like, I love the name. Obviously, like you got like people that have been like DM Esports and like Omnia Esports or like Carpe, whatever. But there was not much around Noctem. It's easy-ish to say, and like people still get it wrong, but like we'll get there. Um, but short, snappy, and it literally the literal translation is night. I think there's a lot of synergies there with gamers, right? So like gamers at night, playing until the early hours of the morning, like all of that, and yeah, and I think having a logo that can just roll off the back of that, right? So you have so many options around animals or just like nighttime landscapes and stuff, and it's like, okay, what do we want to go with it? And it's like night owl. Again, like it leads back into the gamer. Like if you're a night owl, then you tend to stay up a lot later.
Absolutely spot on. I mean, like you say, gaming at night, like, what else do you need? Night and gamer, it goes hand in hand. We don't do the daytime. Nighttime activities for us.
I mean, you see it in the Discord, right? Like people are like, "Oh, it's too early," and it's like 8 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning. I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" Like man.
Might be even later than that, 8 o'clock. We don't
Yeah.
really see many of them.
I know, true.
Oh, so obviously we've seen you invest into challenges last season, Apex as well. We'll touch on that in a little minute, but before we do, what structure do you currently have in place at Noctem to facilitate where the company is at?
Amazing. Yeah. So we've got myself. I was working on this full time, but not currently. We've got Seanyy, who's like incredible, doing loads with our content creators. We've got Addy, who's our designer, again, really talented. And, we are actively looking to expand that team. Obviously, we've got, I, I don't know if you want me to talk about it now, the teams. Yeah.
Go
Okay. So
for it.
we've got our challenges team that just got announced today. We've got our EAFC team that we signed probably about a month ago now. They're doing really well. We've got a couple of other signings coming soon, as well as like a really great and diverse range of content creators. And yeah, like we probably still need more help. We still need more people, but resources are restricted, right? Like we're 9 months in. I've self-funded everything up until now, and we're in the hole quite a lot. So it's about slowing down, refocusing on what we want to be and where we want to go, and then doing whatever we can to get there.
Absolutely love it. I mean, there's so many exciting things. And how soon can we expect them next signings to be announced?
I'm hopeful it's this weekend, but there's just lots we've got to do before then.
Intel.
I think like with the roster announcement this time around, right? It took quite a lot of effort to get that
Yeah.
going and released, but we want to do something similar for our next roster.
Roster.
Yeah. Oh yes, roster, and content creators coming soon.
I can't wait for that. Oh no, that's got me smiling. But so we touched on it before. Last season, you invested in Challengers and Apex. Now, out of the two, is there one specifically that you regret investing in, or maybe even both, or none of them?
I don't regret anything, right? Like it's all a learning experience.
Yeah.
So like we lost quite a lot of money in challenges last year, but for me that was acceptable in the sense that I wanted to learn as quickly as I could about the esports landscape. And, the team were really disappointed. Well, teams, we had two EU rosters like towards the end of last year. They were both really disappointed with the end results too, and obviously not making neither of the teams making it to champs like sucked, right? But at the same time, if you can't learn how to lose, you're not going to be able to win properly, right? You're not going to be able to celebrate the wins, and it's not going to be as special as it would if you lost first. And then Apex came around. Like, I wanted to try and make the most of the team that we had. Like, it was our roster was from Brazil. It's a massively underfunded region, and like I still want to do work there again in the future. But it was expensive. It was it was a lot more expensive than Call of Duty was. However, we also got the opportunity to compete at LAN in London in front of like a huge crowd. Um, it was really special. And then we had the opportunity to go to champs, although I don't particularly want to talk about what happened there. And overall, like, yes, we lost a lot of money, like, well, this year, right? But we always knew that could be a possibility. And yes, I would love to be further along in terms of like a competitive standing. I'd love to be further along with our content, but we're not, right? So it's just like, what can we do now to get us back to that level and get us back to that level sustainably? Which is, yeah, why we've got so much in the works, especially around Modern Warfare 3. We might go back into Apex next year, but I would love to see some changes. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Do you look at that though in a good way and go, I'm really glad that I invested in that and now I'm better for it and I know so much more and I know what to do going forward?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And like working with under two different game publishers as well, right? Like they own the IP, it's their league, they can do what they want with it. But seeing how the two different like companies represent themselves and like what they do for other people, there's good and bad from both sides. So like it inspires me in a lot of ways because I'm like, someone eventually will get this spot on for orgs, right? Like us. And when that day comes, I want us to be there, ready, and like be able to maximize the opportunity.
No, I agree. It's a great way to look at it. Like, yeah, sometimes you lose, but if you're losing, you need to learn, and if you aren't, then you shouldn't be competing.
Exactly, yeah. And like for me, I've said this about people before, right? I would quite happily invest money to figure out like what a person's like or what a game's like. Do you know what I mean? Just because I think if you try and wait too long before you invest the money, like you're going to learn so much slower than if you have the money available and you're willing to spend it.
No, yeah, I agree, and I think that, like you say, you find out people the most when money's involved. Money does certain things to people, and also when you're investing your own money, I feel like that is also when you look at things the right way.
Yeah, yeah, and like as much as I'd like to think if we had millions, I would have spent it sustainably. Like with my background working in finance for companies that have raised investment and stuff. When we originally thought about it in like February, March this year, like we weren't ready. We were definitely nowhere near ready. And even now, in 6 months' time, if we haven't like tried to raise outside investment, I'll probably be like, I'm so glad we didn't do it back then. But that at the same time, we've got a really cool opportunity and we're doing loads of good things. So like, obviously, having more money available would enable us to do even cooler things. But
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants more money, right? More opportunities,
100%,
but it will come. It will come.
oh, I 100% believe it.
But you touched on it there a minute ago about going to a LAN, going to a main stage event and seeing your brand up on that main stage. Honestly, what was the feeling like of something that you created in your head comes to real life and then you get to see it being broadcasted to thousands?
Yeah, I was just in awe, and like you see your name up there against like old schools, like some like your optics and your TSMs, and then you're like newer orgs like 100 Thieves and stuff like that, all huge names. And all right, we probably didn't get the airtime that I would have like to have got, but like me being there in person and seeing it, I was just like mind blown. And like I had goosebumps for probably like the first 2 or 3 hours we were there, and then just couldn't stop smiling throughout the whole event.
That must have made everything worth it.
How it was, even when the team were losing, right? It was just like it's still so cool that we're here. Like we're competing on land against like huge orgs, and you go into like a little VIP area, and there's people from all the big orgs from around the world, like all happy to chat, and it's incredible.
I love it. Before we finish segment one, is there anything that you think a lot of people don't know about the brand that you want to share?
Oh, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is like this isn't my first foray into esports, right? I competed for Team Dignitas way back in 2009-10 in FIFA. Um, so like having that background and working under OD for Team Dignitas, like one of the biggest brands that's been in esports, especially in the UK. Yeah, incredible. Um, Outside of that, I don't think there's anything that we've kept secret. Yeah, entirely self-funded up until now, and we haven't accepted any prize money off any of the players.
Did not know that. So that's typical. That's impressive. Fair play. I don't think I've heard of another org doing that.
Supposedly Optic don't either, so
Okay.
good
So
name to be alongside.
no one's ever going to say no to that.
I mean, like, going forwards, it's not sustainable to do that. But obviously, we can offer everything that I wanted to offer in terms of like experience and like being able to help people grow their own brands up until more recently when we've had, Seanyy join and Addy join. And yeah, now we're in a lot better place to be able to do that. Yeah, it has been nice where like I haven't had to take elite money off people or like weekend cuts money off people in Call of Duty. And in Apex, we signed a team after they won the South American League, so we didn't take any money off them. We could have signed them before, but we didn't.
No, yeah. Possibly not the most sustainable thing, but absolutely typical.
Oh, no, tell a lie. With the EAFC team we have, the deal that we arranged with them was slightly different.
Yeah.
Yes, the same.
It's got to be done though. I don't think anyone can expect to go to an organization unless you're like some unbelievable content creator with like a huge following to ever not have to give anything back. That just isn't how business works.
True, but in my head, I've always been like, if we can get to a point where we don't have to take money off players, great. Like, I think it's different if you're in like the CDL where it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, you need that money in order to be anywhere near sustainable. But I still think there's so much opportunity around that content wise. But maybe that's something we can revisit next year.
Maybe you don't want to give too many tricks away either. Oh, but segment 2 and, well, the exciting part of this one we've all been itching to get to. The Modern Warfare 3 season. Let's just start it with your challengers team for the upcoming season. You go ahead and reveal it, sir.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing for this. We've got Resi and Detained who were with us at the back end of last season. We've got Cruz who played for us right at the beginning when we picked up that Grandmasters team. And then finally, we've got Genesis, who's been around for a couple of years, had some good results. And yeah, I think like this team, we've been talking to like Jed and Josh, especially Tane and Resi, since probably July about building this team and what we want out of them and what we want to be able to deliver for them as well. And yeah, super excited to get it announced. Contracts got signed like 3 weeks ago, and it's just been ticking along trying to get everything ironed out. And yeah, obviously with Modern Warfare 3 releasing today, well, tomorrow, today, some people have got on today, like you. Yeah, it's just super exciting. And I just like can't wait for the season to start. Like we've got so much planned around the team as well. I think it's a cracking roster. I was in for it, mate.
So why specifically this group of players? Because your seed 7th, this team is in the EU Challengers. However,
Yeah.
the teams above that have no organisation, and the ones around it don't either. So I can only imagine that you could have picked a few. So why did you pick this roster?
Yeah, for sure. So like obviously I don't want to talk about who approached us, but like we had some early discussions with a couple of people. But you know, I promised Josh last year that we'd at least try and make something happen this year. And like from that, the first conversation I had with Josh, like we were both really keen to have Jed detain around. Like he's experienced, he's still young, but he's obviously won on land back to back twice. Like it's that is the making of a like an unbelievable roster. Like I think Josh is an incredible AR. I think personality wise, he's such a nice bloke, and for us as well, I like the fact that look, we had opportunities to drop them last season as well, right? Like again, they weren't happy with the Texas results, and in my head, well, I guess some people would probably have said we were a bit stupid to keep hold of them after the Texas result because like it was quite bad. But literally before they were even on the plane home, I was like, look, we're going to the next event anyway. And then the next event rolls around and like it didn't quite work out again. But you know, I was out there and it was incredible to watch them. Although so nerve wracking, by the way. Like I, yeah, I'm not a fan of like watching that much. Literally, my nerves are like all over the shop. Um, and then didn't quite make it to champs, but yeah, it happens again. Like I would rather stick with a roster for another year. We make a good run of it, do everything that we can for each other, and then like, okay, like we'll reassess it again at the end of this year. But I think it's an incredible team. I like the way that it's shaped up, and like I say, Josh and Jed, I've been speaking to them for months, and this is the lineup that they wanted to play with, and I've got every faith in them. I think it's important though that we do get a good coach in, an analyst or analyst maybe. Um, I think that's going to really help the team step up their game. Like Quiz was great for us last year, but I think I want more support around the team and try and put a better structure in place. And maybe like a team manager as well to take that off my plate directly. Um, yeah, I'm just so excited to be honest.
So is that analyst slash coach and a team manager? So two different positions you're looking for?
Maybe even three.
Maybe three. So is that open to application?
Look, if someone's got some good ideas, they do good work. Like I'm always happy to have a chat. Like I wouldn't bring anyone on board without speaking to the team about it. Outside of the team manager, I think it's important that I have that relationship first, and then they build that with the team. But bonus points if they already have that relationship. So yeah, we shall see over the next coming months. Like a buzzing.
Well, if anyone fills them gaps, you know who to hit up. His Twitter's going to be in the description below, so shoot your shot. Why not?
Yeah,
Why
please
not?
do.
Yeah. So, like you touched on it there, Detain has won, well, MW19, the man won absolutely everything, basically. Alongside, let's say, Resi, who's a great AR, they now have two new players to the Noctem brand, if I'm correct.
Not Cruz. So Cruz
To
played with
Cruz.
us in Texas.
Right, okay, so Genesis is the new one on the team. So, realistically, with that said, what is your expectations going into the first event this year? Do you have a number wise of where you're like, if it's below this, then we can't go forward? Or is there not that stress there?
There's not the stress there, but like I think we're all on the same page. Like we want to win, right? I think it's going to be tough. Like there's a lot of quality teams, especially in EU challenges. Like unreal, like good up and coming teams. Like you've got obviously the established teams, and then you've got like the ex CDL super team. But like, why not? Why not us? Like what's stopping us? You know, like if the team gel quickly, I think they will. I don't think there's many teams that will be able to compete.
No, I think it's a really promising roster, but that gets me on to the next question. Is that the biggest problem last year? A lot of players' feedback was that the NA was just so far ahead of the EU. Now, with that said, what made you stick with EU over NA? Is it just the fact of it being an EU organisation, or do you like something specific in this scene?
I mean, look, the EU scene is like thrown to the curb in Call of Duty, right? And I want to help build that back up. I think there's a huge opportunity here, and like as much as it sucks that London Royal Ravens aren't in the like UK anymore and like not represent, there's no European CDL team. Like, okay, cool. So like, I hope all the challenges brands this year like really step it up, like make the most of this situation. Like, yes, it is shit that like there's no European CDL teams, but okay, make some fucking noise then and do something about it. Like, yeah, if we just keep doing the same shit that we've been doing, like I say I've only been doing it for like 6 months. If you lot keep doing the same fucking shit that you have been doing, you're gonna keep losing money, get less viewers. Like, let's just work together. Like, honestly, any like org owners that are out there, like, let's set up a group chat. Let's like spitball some ideas and like do something to make people take notice of us. Like, there's so many European Call of Duty fans, but nobody knows when Challenges is. No one knows what the fuck Challenges is. Like, okay, like this Call of Duty Challenges circle is quite small, right? We need to make as much noise as we can to get as many eyeballs as we can on us, and then the sponsors will come. But like, what are we offering at the moment? I'm speaking about us here as well. Like, we didn't do everything that we wanted to do last year, and like we didn't do enough. So like this year, we're gonna take over unless any of you give us any competition in terms of content. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it now.
Well, we're going to get onto that in a sec, but I think that's right. Is that it's time for the scene to make a ruckus and get our name back on the map because no one else is going to do it for us. So every single player, every single org, every single content creator within this scene, every fan needs to do all you can to shout and scream about this scene this year because there's so much untouched potential here. It is crazy. And as soon as we start showcasing it, sponsors are going to start piling in. It's just how it works. So just get your heads in the game because, like you say, if not, then someone's going to be so far ahead of you, you're not going to be able to catch them. And then you're going to go, why didn't we do that?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that everyone does the same thing. Like, let's make some noise. Let's get the matches up there. Like, let's get the watch parties going. Like, do you know what I mean? There's so much we can do. And look, if we end up paving the pathway and like bring sponsors in, and then like we will try our best to bring that to all of you, but you got to be doing shit as well. Like, you can't just like rely on other people's hard work. Like, put the fucking work in. Let's make the most out of it. There's an opportunity here, 100%.
Yeah, and I think a lot of orgs, a lot of players, they get this whole competing in game on the battlefield twisted with all of the socials and everything else of where the scene can generally support each other, but they still see that competitive aspect to it of where I don't want to collab on something because it's just going to aid the other person. Like, keep the competition in game and out of game. Let's all try and grow this scene collectively, and everyone's going to benefit for it. Everyone. It's not going to be one person, one brand. Everyone will.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I think there's so much opportunity for like endemic brands and non-endemic brands to come in, run tournament series, and the EU team will love it for them. The only reason they're going to do something like that is if we can prove the viewership is there to make it worth it for them. And like at the moment, like I think, although the challenges broadcast, I think it's good.
Yeah,
it's just not shouted about enough, and like we need to do that as a scene to make the most out of it.
No, I agree. I'm like, I'll go on a tangent here for a little second, but
Yes, please.
That's one of the things that even myself has moaned about. Right, bring back the CWL. Like, I miss connecting with one of these brands and watching a team and org that I actually want to win, want to support. Like, and it's only clicked to me this year. Hold on, just go look at challenges. Everything from the CDL that we used to love is there apart from the connection to the pros. There's still the orgs, still the players, the brands that you can have a one-on-one connection with and support. And I'll be honest, that them lot are gonna appreciate that support much more than any other brand you've ever supported in your life. You will feel like a family if you support one of these orgs. So just do it.
I agree, but I also think we need us as a brand, as an org, we need to make people want to watch us,
100%.
right? Like we can't just expect people to fall into our laps and be like, "Oh, I'm a massive Noctem fan." Like that ain't gonna happen. So like, what do we do to make that happen? Okay, sweet. Let's make some like interesting content. Like let's do some stuff that other people aren't doing, and it might not work out. Like cool, like our reacts content. Some of it's done really well, but some of it's done nothing. And like, okay, cool, but we're trying it. Like, who else is trying it? Like, I don't know.
No.
It don't take a lot. Like, you literally throw up Streamlabs, throw an overlay on it, and then get on the Discord call. It's easy.
Yeah. No, I agree. So let's touch on it. You have a decent sized pool of content creators. Now, any man is going to assume that you're going to use that in and around the Modern Warfare 3 season from what you've said.
Correct.
Now, do you have any leaks of any ideas, any sort of vision you have to create content around the brand and the players for this year?
So much. What am I going to give away? Here's a free one for you. We're going to watch party every single one of our challenges matches. We will get a feed, and there's going to be a lot of entertainment around it. We've got lots of content around Modern Warfare 3 in general, like Ranked Play Street, when that eventually comes out. I don't want to give away all of those video ideas, but there's a lot of them. And then, I guess, yeah, watch this space. It's not that I'm like afraid of anyone else taking them, because I generally think like most people will just ain't got the balls or the energy to be able to do it. But like we do. So like I could give like 30 content ideas that we're gonna do, but I think there's probably like 2 orgs out there that will do as much as us. And like I'm not trying to shit on them, like everyone's got their own reasons and their own beliefs. But I genuinely believe the only way that we're gonna be able to grow the scene is through content. And we're gonna do everything in our power in the next 8 months to be able to do that. So yeah, watch this space.
I absolutely love it. So, segment 3, the next steps. We touched on it there about the content creators, but let's go back to Call of Duty. Well, I'm going to start with this actually. Do you see, you done it last season, you had 2 teams. Do you see this year you having more than one roster in the challenger scene or not?
I think the likelihood is at the moment, no. However, if it gets to a point where, like I've said before, if we can help support people chasing their dreams, then maybe we will. But at the moment, and especially the way we're set up, I don't want to stretch us any thinner than we already are. So probably not.
Okay.
But I would never say never.
Okay. You also said the next 8 months there, so I'm going to try pry something out of you. It might not be with this team, don't want contract specifics. However, should we expect to see the Noctem brand at all remaining challenger events for the 2024 season?
Yes, and the only reason I said 8 months, I was like, when does the season end?
Yes,
That's
that's
what I
what I
was
thought.
thinking. But in terms of the guys have stuff in their contracts that essentially says, if you do this, then we will support you until maybe even 2025.
Okay. I shall prod no further. That is probably more information than I was hoping to get back. So that is fantastic. We shall expect to see Noctem for a long time yet.
100%, mate. 100%.
But we know as well, with the community cups, with everything else you do, you really enjoy supporting the community. Have you got anything upcoming in where you're continuing that?
Oh yes. There's lots coming. We love the community cups. If we're reassessing early next year if that prize pool is going to go up, I'm hoping it can. Sorry, is that news to you, Cop?
News to me. I might have had a DM about it. I can't really remember. Foggy memory.
yes, we're trying to support all areas of Call of Duty this year, and you should see more coming in the next couple of weeks.
How far do you want me to prod into that one? Because that sounds
You can
exciting.
I'll open it.
Are
I'll
you
open it.
so? I mean, this could have gone into either segment, but it is the next steps. Are we going to see Noctem invest in more than just the challenger scene this year, next year, the upcoming years within Call of Duty?
100%. Like I mentioned, I think there's a huge opportunity, especially in European Call of Duty, and inside that, there's a huge opportunity in women's Call of Duty. So you'll see us invest heavily in that this year, as well as in co-ed Call of Duty, because I think eventually, hopefully, every team has at least one woman on it. And on top of that, obviously, content creators, like, we love Call of Duty, love the game. It's easy to understand. Shoot people, they die, win the game, right? That, as well as potentially LAN events, we'll see in the future. Maybe there's a collab there we can do with another like org that's nearby. But again, that's all speculation. That's further in the future. But there's just so much I want to do, mate. It's just
Yeah, it's hard. Not enough hours in the day, not enough money. There's
yeah,
ideas. There's a lot of ideas, and it is really exciting. I think this is a really exciting year in general for Noctem and many brands around the space. They're starting to get. Well, I feel like at least there's that buzz about it again. Something's happening. Something's stirring up, and hopefully we're going to get back to where we all know and love this scene to be.
I hope so, mate. And I genuinely think we will.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's such a buzz this year, and everything just points towards just being fantastic. So let's hope we can stick on that path.
I hope so. I really do hope so. But let's stem away from Call of Duty for a minute. Are we going to see Noctem Esports like they invested in Apex long term? Maybe not even this year. Do you see Noctem investing in anything anytime soon in the next few
Yeah,
years?
100%.
Yeah.
We're actively looking for games that we think are going to be beneficial to us. Obviously, we're cash restricted, and I don't want to force or like take a risk where it's going to put everything else in danger. But there's a lot of esports out there, and some I'm a fan of. I'd love to be in Counter Strike, Valorant, Rocket League. Outside of that, we'll see. Like Fortnite, I used to love Fortnite, but I don't think the fan base transfers very well. Trying to think, is there any I'm missing, Cop?
Apex. If you go back to that.
So I love Apex. I love the game. I just think something needs to change there. I don't want to go into too many details, but
Yeah. A lot of them aren't positive, I guess.
Oh no, definitely not. Which is like the thing is, you go back to like what 4 or 5 months ago. I was so complimentary on EA and everything that were working behind the scenes, but then shit happens and you realise that they just don't give a fuck about you, especially if you're a small org like us. Like if you're a TSM, you've got a lot more weight behind you, so like they probably don't want you to kick off. But yeah,
Yeah. So sadly, that's the truth. But yeah, there's lots of exciting things going on in esports. Like I said, there's just a lot, and sadly, there's something I want to touch on. It sadly, you see a lot of other organisations. You've seen it in this space. They run before they can walk. They invest too heavily, and it happens a year later. They're not here, so it's refreshing to hear an organ and not going all in.
yeah. So I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily about running before you can walk. Like we definitely did that, right? You got
Yeah,
to have a plan behind it, and like not just throw cash like at people. Like in the grand scheme of things, the money that I've spent, that's my money, has been nowhere near the amount that like their Sentinels has spent or anything like that. You know, not even like what they lose 700 grand a month. Like I probably spent 10% of that, but at the same time, like I was happy to run and like lose that money because I knew that I wanted to learn as quickly as I could, right?
I love it. So to finish this segment off nicely, give us the end envisionment in 3 years' time of where you think Noctem will be, and run as far and wide with this as you want.
So in 3 years' time, Noctem is going to be competing at the top in like at least 3 or 4 games. I think Noctem, as you know it now, is only going to evolve. And as you know, we've got the esports side of the business. We've got the Vista, which is our podcast around esports and gaming. And there is lots more in the works in terms of Noctem, the brand. I don't want to go too much into detail about some of that because some of it is quite secretive. But at the end of the day, we want to create a media company around Noctem, and we want to create a series around our players and the esports scene in general that could rival Netflix's Drive to Survive. That is the end goal. We want to get to the position where we can storytell from start to finish and like be able to tell the stories of like our Apex team that was from Brazil and like what they go through and have gone through to be just to be able to compete and like not on a level playing field until they get to LAN at all. I want to be able to tell the story like of challenges like what Rocker, is it Rocker? Rocker
Yeah.
did a little bit last year.
Yeah, I love that.
It was good, but like I wanted to see more of the grit, you know, and
Yeah.
like the thing is, it costs a lot of money to produce something like that. And again, if people aren't supporting the content, it's either that they don't like it or they haven't seen, don't know where to watch it, right? We want to do that, like, and at the same time, like, we can create a media and esports consultancy. Like, there's no reason why we can't. I've seen how agencies run. Like, I've been lucky enough to see the behind the scenes, the mechanics of how the money moves, and like I don't have all the answers of what an esports consultancy could look like, or I'm not a designer, I'm not a video editor, like I can't do those skills myself. But in the end, you hire people, right? That is it. If you can hire good people and you can lead them, like I don't know if I can yet, but like when you get to a scale that I can see us being at, why not?
No.
And then we will be running everything, even if we can't walk yet.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. So that finalises segment 3. Now, segment 4 is going to be rude when I have a brain like yours on here to not pick it for the people and try and educate them. So, segment 4, any advice for up and comers? We'll just go with that because we've got a few questions here. So, the first one's going to be directed at aspiring organisation owners. Now, I've known a handful of, many more than a handful of people that have tried to start their own org and unfortunately failed. Now, at one stage, this was you starting an organisation. Do you have any advice about giving away any secrets for people that are aspiring to be an organisation owner?
You can't get upset about things that are outside of your control. Like we're not successful yet, right? I generally don't think we're anywhere near where I think I should be giving out advice for being a successful org owner, right? But I do think that you need to have a certain level of like what's the word I'm looking for? Just like fuck it, it happens, just move on. Like you can't dwell on things for too long. Like you can't think what if, like just move on to the next thing because otherwise you're going to bring the energy down for people around you as well. And I think that's just a good rule for life.
No, I agree. So then I want to get on to the next part of it, away from the organisation owners, is when a staff, let's go with staff member first. When someone contacts you wanting to be a staff member or part of the behind the scenes project with Noctem, what is some sort of advice you can give to people who contact you or apply for a position? What is something that stands out to you?
Where should I start? Okay, so like first things first, like use proper English. Like if I read something, I know it sounds so like mundane, yeah, but if I look at something and you have use punctuation and I have to like think about what I'm reading, I'm just going to be like, no, right? if you're like, oh, can I come work at Noctem? No. Like, why? I don't know you. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, what? I don't know what you want to do, and I don't have the time to be able to help you. And I'm sorry. Like, I can't. I, I guess for me, come up with something that's going to make you unique, right? Because, like I said already, we're thin on the ground as it is, and like, I know I can't do everything, and I can't do everything to like the best level I'd like to be able to do it to, right? But if I bring you on board right now, unless you know what you're doing and you don't need like loads of direction, it's going to be non-beneficial to us, right? Because like now I'm back at work, especially, I haven't got time to manage you directly. I haven't got time to answer every question you've got, and like I'd love to be able to do that, but I can't. So make yourself stand out. Tell me what you can do already, what you'd like to do, and like what you're going to bring to Noctem to like help us get to where we want to be. And yeah, we pay everyone that works for us, even if it's only a little bit for now. But like also the people that are working with us now will get equity in the company once we get to that stage. I think you need to be willing to put in the work now, and like yeah, it sucks. I don't think you should have to volunteer your time for free or for like next to nothing, but that's the position we're in. And if you don't want to work for that, fine. Like I don't care. Like I will do the work. It doesn't bother me. All I need people to do is like come in, do a great job, don't cause loads of drama, and like smash the shit out of it. And then long term, when we get there, I will reward you. I can't even say that word. Reward you.
No, I've just great, and hopefully people take that on board. To be honest, because it is hard, as we always say, finding good people in this space. So if you're a good
Agreed. Yeah.
person, or you're not a good person, take this on board and implement it. But another one that sometimes riles me up, so I'm hoping you can give some of them some guidance. Content creators, a lot of them love to be parts of organizations for a reason that I'm still unsure of. So obviously you've just touched it there, that you pay all of your staff. That is the plan for Noctem. So when a content creator is trying to get a paid position on an organization, what, as you as an org owner, what are you looking for at these content creators? What goes for you? I want to sign this or this person, this man, this female to my organization and pay them.
Great. So I mean, I don't care how many viewers you've got, right? Like that's fine. I think we've noticed it with pretty much everyone that we've signed that eventually they gain growth, right? One, stand out, do something different that everyone else is doing. Like, okay, like you've seen a cool idea that and someone in another game's doing, right? Cool, bring it to your game. Like, think of something unique. Go on Chat GPT, get some random ideas that are nothing to do with gaming, and see how you can incorporate gamers and your circle into that. I think put in the work, over deliver on what your org wants you to over deliver on, and then you get rewarded. Like that's the way I am. I hope that other people are the same. But like, do the bare minimum. Like, it ain't hard. I'm paying you, yeah. When there's so many orgs out there that aren't paying content creators, even orgs that are like got like 80,000 creators or 80,000 followers. Sorry, don't pay their creators. We've got like 1,700 followers on Twitter. We pay everyone. Put in the fucking work. Don't be a dick. Don't get yourself into unnecessary controversy. Fucking pick up your org whenever you can, because like at the end of the day, that it's not just them paying you to do something. They're putting their time and effort into you and future plans behind the scene, as well as trying to grow you as well as the brand. Right? It's a two-way street. If you grow, we grow. I mean, I could go on for hours about this. It's like, okay, you don't know how to make TikTok videos. Okay, just go and fucking learn it. Like, you, if you got like 24 hours in the day, right? So even if you sleep 8 hours, that leaves 16 hours, right? If you're not working, you've still got 16 hours to do stuff. I don't want to hear that you haven't, right? Learn how to edit. I can't edit. I'm still trying to fucking learn, right? But learn how to edit. Put out content on every platform you can, even if it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just keep going. Just keep putting out content. And like, I can't remember. I think it was like Mr. Beast who said, right, about 100 videos, and every video try and make something better. And then like, by the time you get to that 100th video, you'll be in a position of power. I mean, what else? What else is there to talk about, Cop? I mean,
Could go
find
all
the right
day.
people around you. Like, don't don't treat good people badly because like it'll come back to bite you. If someone like believes in you now, even if you've got like 2 viewers, right, and they both believe in you so much, make the most of those people and like really appreciate them because if you get then one day get 50 viewers and then you start treating them like shit, like it ain't gonna work out for you in the long run.
No, but preach it. Absolutely preach it. We could go all day. I mean, hopefully they take some of this on board, and we'll go with. I want to cater to one final genre of figures in esports here. Why I've got you here is that you must have been contacted by so many teams in your time already across various different titles. Can you give some guidance or maybe some advice for when on what you like to see or what you don't like to see of when any team in esports of any level contacts you when they want to represent the brand?
Cool. So I guess first thing's like a realistic expectation of money. Like just because your mates are getting paid thousands of pounds a month doesn't necessarily mean you are. Your mates might have a bigger brand than you. They might be able to bring something else to the org, right? Set realistic expectations, but also I like the fact that people are ambitious, and I think you should always go in a little bit higher. But like we have had people asking for like thousands when the viewership just doesn't make sense, and they don't have the big enough brand around them. I like people to be organised. Like, cool, if it's a new game, send us as much detail as possible. Like, send a quick like highlights at the top, and then go into like paragraphs afterwards. Just because if I'm interested from what you've said at the top, I want to know more, and like I don't want to have to keep going back and forth, right? If I don't send you a follow up, your message has probably gone like down in the mailbox, right? And like as much as I love to go through every message multiple times, every time I read a message, it takes out of like time to build Noctem, right? Message me again, and then like again, if I don't respond, message me again. Just don't take no for an answer until I literally say it's not right, and then probably stop. um, yeah, be enthusiastic. Send us details. You going? Oh, you want to be in this game? Like maybe, but like, am I gonna have to go back and forth like 6 or 7 times before you actually give me what I want? And actually, leaning back on the content creator thing, I just thought of something else.
Go.
Get yourself a fucking show reel, mate. Like the amount of times I just like we have content creators like approach us, and I'm like, cool, can you send me a show reel or something just so I can take a look? They don't send a show reel, and they just stop messaging. I'm like, so you don't care that much, then, do you? Sorry, positives now.
Yeah, but I think that's the gritty stuff. That's the people that people want to hear, but that's what they need to hear. That's why maybe they're doing a lot right, but maybe when they're contacting these brands, this is what they're doing wrong. That's why they can't get over the step. If they haven't been contacted, then they need to contact people. Go do it. Like just try to take this advice on board. It's not putting anyone down. It's to try and help them. And this is coming from the person that you're going to be contacting. So listen to it.
I also am very aware that we're not that big, right? And we might not be as
Yeah.
desirable as like the big teams, right? But I think I've got a professional background, right? I understand business. if you want something from someone, then fucking put the effort in. And if you're copy and pasting stuff to all the orgs in the UK, I know about it because we speak.
Yeah, and you can see copy and paste a mile away.
Exactly. And the amount of times people just don't change the brands as well. They change it.
Yeah.
They just keep it. It's hilarious.
Oh, but that is the end of the segments. However, I do have some quick fire questions for you. We're going to ask our first 5 guests 4 questions. You are the final guest out of them 5.
Ooh.
So, quick fire, but if you want to go into it, feel absolutely free. Again, do as you please. So, which organisation owner or maybe esports player made you want to get into the scene?
OD.
Okay.
I know it's a rogue one, and like not everyone, especially in Call of Duty, might not know who he is, but like he's been around for like 25, 30 years. He was one of the first people in the UK to be able to do it full time. Like he foresaw a lot of things before they happened in esports, and I guess like everyone, not everyone might not be everyone's cup of tea, but like the bloke has so much knowledge around esports and gaming, and yes, OD. Obviously, it helps when I played for him 14 years ago. So
No, but I like that, to be honest. A lot of people, they'll come on and they'll say, not that there's anything wrong with this, but they'll say that people that they don't know, to be able to say that someone that you personally know has inspired you, I think that's pretty cool. So,
I agree, and I think it's like they say as well, right? You should always give people the flowers while they can still smell them, right? So shout out OD, man.
yes, I love it. That's true. That's absolutely true. But which EU player do you see getting called up into the CDL next? Now, I'm going to assume you're going to want that to be one of yours, but answer as you want.
Resi, Detain, Genesis, and Cruz. Um, outside of our team,
Yeah, let's go with that.
people that haven't been in the league already.
No, they could have been. Just who's getting in there next from the EU that's not currently in there?
Mate, it's got to be Nasty. Nasty's got to go back to the league straight away. Like it's, I mean, there's so many players that should be in the league, right? But the fact that he competed on like mediocre London rosters for the last like 3 years,
Yeah.
and like shone in multiple different roles as well. Get that man in the league. Outside of that, obviously, Steve-O deserves to be in the league. He's been around for years. I mean,
Yeah.
Gizmo, like getting back in there, Beans, like the list goes on, mate.
It's a big list.
Just give us a EU CDL. Like, give us this year. We'll smash it out of the park. Put so many eyes on EU Call of Duty, and then just let us run a EU CDL, and then we'll just blow everything out the water.
I think that is a possible different model for it as well, to be honest. Then you could have like, your big international majors and stuff like that. I think that would be a cool way to expand it that I've never thought of. So that's that. Yeah. I could go on a mad one with that. I could go all day. I absolutely love that idea. Someone make it happen.
Look, I think as much as I think most people would want the CWL back, right?
Yeah.
The CDL is here, and at the moment it's here to stay. So like, let's make the most out of it that we can, and you know, try and move forwards as much as possible. Like, I know it's not going to be easy, but we can't keep living in the past, mate. We can't. We just got to move forward. So
No, I agree. I agree. But it's a topic I'll go on forever. But I do think franchising's here to stay. So let's try and manipulate that to the best way possible.
exactly.
But next, right? This is one I'm intrigued to hear from you. The most iconic European organization in COD history.
Oh, what EU based?
We'll allow it if they've had a predominantly EU roster for most of their time.
I mean, I love that reciprocity roster back in the day. Like Epsilon as well. Like Dave on Epsilon.
Epsilon
Big
Dave,
fan.
shout out that man.
Yeah.
Two great
Tough
ones.
one, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you go way back, like weren't Fnatic and stuff in
Oh,
COD.
if you go back to episode 1, mate, if you want that question answered, Avo went through the entire timeline of esports history with European COD organisations. That man was like Wikipedia. So I'll have to get the clip for you. It's unbelievable. But I think Reciprocity and Epsilon, especially in COD, I mean, 2 huge names. So they paved the way for a lot of people, especially Epsilon. So
yeah, 100%.
there's no wrong answer in this segment anyway, mate. So, and then
I know, but I don't want to get criticised because you know when someone asked me my favourite ranked map, and you know what I said. So
there's always gonna be a bad comment, mate. You got to look past them. Oh, but final one: best European Call of Duty player of all time.
Oof. So I think my favourite, and I'm a big fanboy, and that is Zero.
Oh, okay.
But when I started watching Call of Duty again, the twins, like,
Scraps
I
them
love
away.
them. Yeah. And then obviously Dave, you know.
Shout out Epsilon Dave again. We'll just keep shouting them out.
Big fan. Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. So the twins, Scraps and Muskins. We got Epsilon Dave. And then your first choice was?
Zero.
That was it, Zero. So honestly, great name. Done. Must have made a tidy career out of Call of Duty esports. So shout out him. And that finalizes all the questions I have for you today. Now we can go to guest time now. Do you have any questions for me? Anything you would like to talk about, or anything specifically you would like to promote?
Okay, promote like Vista. Lots of upcoming projects. Just honestly, follow Noctem, and if you're not like, oh fuck me, they're doing loads of stuff by February next year, then I will give you a tenner.
Clipped.
In terms of questions for you, Cop, what are you most looking forward to with Modern Warfare 3?
In Noctem specifically, or outside of Noctem?
Well, both. Let's do one of each.
I mean, Noctem specifically, just to be honest, just the COD team in general, and seeing how far we can push content creation around the team and the roster and promoting it to potential sponsors to bring in. Like, I think that really excites me on a personal level, is seeing what type of different content we can create that hasn't been made before, and hopefully portraying that to sponsors and other orgs, maybe potentially getting them in the scene, just growing the scene in general and trying to benefit. I mean, that's what really excites me the most in what we're doing. And then, seeing how the players actually get on, because it's nice to be part of a brand. I said this to you when I joined, like, I never joined a brand for the sake of it. Maybe I have before and I've learned, but the goal is to join a brand that, you're in the feels of it. Do you know what I mean? When something good happens, you're like, oh yes, go on. I'm all about that. And yeah, I want to see how far the boys can get because I'm rooting for them. So, and then Modern Warfare 3 in general, I'm just hoping it's better than Modern Warfare 2, and I think it is, which is why I'm excited. I think it's better than Modern Warfare 2. I think it's better than Vanguard. Is it better than Cold War? Is it the best modern era Call of Duty? I don't know, but I think it's better than what we have. Don't know till it gets in comp, but I'm excited. It's the beginning of the game. I'm excited to see all these names come back. Everyone had their little 3-month spurt of where content's flowing. Everyone's happy. Like, I'm just glad to be back in that bit. So, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Cracking answers, mate.
Could go on a tangent, but I'm trying to behave myself.
But you know what it's like. As soon as we get on the call, we could literally sit here for hours.
Yeah. But anything else, or is that all you've got?
No, I think that's it. Follow the Pit YouTube. Follow Noctem's YouTube. Let's just grow the scene. We're trying to do cool shit here, and we'd appreciate it if you joined us now. You're going to be early, and you know what? In 10 years' time, you can be like, yeah, we were one of the first 100 subscribers over there, and like we will back you up on that as well. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, Jack. I don't know if I need to give an outro. I'm going to do one, but I don't think I'll be able to beat yours there. That was fantastic. So I'm going to thank you, Jack, so much for being on episode 7. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully, we've gave some insight into some people that don't know the Noctem brand too well, and hopefully educated some people and helped them with some questions we've asked you along the way. So we're going to be dropping all of Jack's socials, all of Noctem's socials, including the Vista, down below. Go and click them. Our social's going to be there too. It would mean so much that if you're watching this on YouTube, you hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening on Spotify, then please hit that 5-star review or an honest review. But please, as ever, let us know in the comments what we've done wrong, what you want us to do, and who you want to see on the next interview episode of The Pit, which should be episode 9 next. And thank you so much, Jack. It's been a pleasure.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. Yeah, follow, drop the like. Let's go, guys.
Peace.